guys, how are you? Keith here, and today we're looking at air filter replacement on the Toyota V6, in this case the Lexus RX350. This is a 2007, but the procedure is very similar, if not identical, on the rest of the series, and probably some other vehicles also. So this isn't a terribly difficult job, but it is a little bit more complicated than some cars, and so that's why we're going to take the time to point a couple things out here. So to make the job a little easier, you've got some vacuum lines to take off. You have to take off this ventilation tube which goes into the intake. You are working in proximity with the battery, and so you can disconnect this for safety reasons. It's recommended. I'm not going to. I'm just going to cover it just because with this car there's so many darn electronic things, windows and motors and stuff that need to be reset. I'm not going to really be working over here. You just remember, try not to lay tools down on the battery. Even with a towel, it's not a great idea. Even though this is covered, the big issue is when the positive is not covered, right? And then you touch the positive, you bridge something with a tool to the negative, and you can get a spark and even a fire. So just be safe. I'm going to cover that up. Zoom in a little bit here. We've got, there's one screw down here, and then there's another one just over here, and then we've got some vacuum lines to take off, and then this intake here which goes into the throttle body, and a sensor right here. The very first thing I like to do on jobs like this, especially when there's like vacuum lines and stuff, I like to just take a picture. So I got my phone here. I like to take a picture, all the funky vacuum lines and stuff, just in case anything gets misplaced that I can't figure out how to put it back on. And we're ready to dig in. So with my battery covered, sort of bird's eye thing of what we're doing here. So we've got one screw here, then there's the same screw back here which you won't be able to see, and then we're just going to take apart the rest, and we'll zoom in a little bit. All right, so first one is this 10 millimeter. By the way, if you want to wipe this off, you can, or if you have compressed air. I usually don't worry too much about it because I clean it out real good once this is off. So 10 millimeter bolt here. Some of these don't come out, they just loosen. And for this other one in the back here, I'm going to need a little longer extension. These bolts should not be overly tight at all. It's really just a dust cover. All right. Next, I want to take off this air sensor here. You just press this in and pull. There we go. Next, I'm going to loosen up this intake. Again, not a lot. And this should now just slide off. Like so. See that? Now I've got my vacuum lines. I've got 1, 2, and it looks like 3 over here. So sort of leave those in place so I know where they go. Okay, so I'll look back here. So there's nothing else in the way. So this should just pop up. And this looks like it's not going to fall down on my car, but you can tuck it inside the intake here if you want. So now this is going to pop off and out. I'm going to set that aside. So this is looks like a Toyota Denso. So this looks like this was done at the dealer, which is nice. And as you can see, the underside is horribly horribly dirty, bugs and stuff. What's happening is the intake is right here. We back up a little bit. Down. So here's the intake, right, where the air is coming in through the hood. There's a thunderstorm going on outside, if you heard that. And so air is going in here, it's going down, and it's coming up through the air filter into your intake. It is extremely dirty down in here. I'll just show you. So fortunately, get some light in there. See all that? If you want to vacuum that out, you can. I'm just going to wipe it out with a microfiber. The filter will do its job. I'm going to use a clean microfiber. Get most of the junk out. Okay, so it's nice and clean now. See that in there? As you notice, there's 3 bolts down there, right? 1, 2, 3. If you want to take that thing out and really clean it and dump it, I don't think it's necessary. It is open to the intake of the car, so it's just going to get all dirty again anyway. And the filter, like I said, is doing its job, so I'm not worried too much about it. Now, we're ready to put this guy back together. I'm using FRAM here. I am in the garage, obviously, in case you're hearing that thunderstorm. CA9630. One corner is different. All 3 are rounded corners, except for the one right here is not rounded as much. So keep that in mind when you put it in. There's the 2, like so. You can see the one with all the bugs in it. That's the side that was facing down. That's how I'm going to put mine in. There is a lip right here. Really hard to see in the video. There's an edge and a lip right here. And that's the one that goes inside, facing down. It's a little easier to see with the case where the corner is that doesn't have the rounded corner. I hope you can see that. Okay, let's come a little closer. I'm going to put the case right there. Here, it doesn't have the rounded corner like the others. And so when I mate this up, that's where I want this one to go. Just like that. Fits in perfect. So I need to put it in like that. It's not going to stay in. So at least this way, though, I know which way is the right way. Okay, fits in perfect. Just remember to keep this on the little lip that they've made. Let me see if I can give you a better shot of what I'm talking about. Get a little closer. Very hard because this is white and the camera is not picking it up too well. There is a groove right here all along the perimeter, and that's what I want to go on this plastic housing. There is also a corresponding groove so that it sits proper. It's time to put this cover back on. Let's push this out of the way. Probably the easiest thing is to get this thing mated in here first. Sometimes it's easier to just put the air intake back on. So now that I've got the cover in place, I just need to tighten the screws down, and I got this clip back in place. I need to tighten this clamp and put the vacuum lines back on. So we'll start by tightening the cover screws. Okay, don't go nuts on these because this is plastic. Just more than hand tight, but not too much more. This clips back in, so now I can tighten this clamp. By the way, with these clamps, kind of better to have them where you can access them instead of tightening them way over here and then you can't get the screwdriver in there next time. So I'm going to keep this one up here like this. All right, Again, don't need to over tighten these, right? Plastic just needs to keep it on. Last thing is my vacuum lines. And just check around to make sure you got everything, nothing's loose. So that's it. Start the car and it should be running the same as it was before. If it's a really rough idle or something is not sounding right, then it is likely that you have a loose vacuum line or you accidentally switched a couple of these around. So that's why taking a photo in the beginning is important. If everything is good, you're good to go for another 30,000 miles on replacing these guys. So if you do a lot of city driving, you know, a lot of stop and go, especially in a dirty place or a place that has a lot of pollution, or you live in an area with a lot of sandstorms, then you might want to consider replacing your air filter every 15,000 or every 20,000. I think for most people every 30,000 is good, and keeps you car running well and passing emissions and gas mileage and all that other good stuff. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope that was a help. If we helped you out at all, please like and subscribe, post any questions, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.